Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit. I'm Smriti and you're watching Ask Profit, a show where for the next 30 minutes we'll take all your stock-related queries and get them answered from our fundamental and technical guests. Joining us today here on the show are Saurabh Jain of SMC Global Securities and Kunal Rambhia of The Street. Welcome Kunal and Saurabh, and thank you for taking the time out today. Now, before we move into the questions, let's take a quick look at the markets. Benchmarks have largely flat today, but have turned green as we speak. Kind of flattish day for the markets today. Nifty remains range bound between 21,400 to 21,600. If we look at the constituents of Nifty 50, we have among the gainers HCL Tech, that's buzzing up 3%, followed by Cipla, Adani Enterprises, both up about 1.5–2% thereabouts. And among the life insurance companies, we have SBI Life and HDFC Life, both above 1–1.5% there, and we'll talk a little bit about this in detail. But before that, let me take a look at the losers on the index as well. We have NTPC that's down more than 2.5%, followed by ONGC and BPCL, where we're seeing some profit booking down about 2.5% as well, followed by Coal India, Eicher Motors down over 1% there. Among the sectors, we have Nifty IT that's in the green today, up about 0.5%. Now, this may be on the back of the results that are expected from tomorrow. We have TCS and Infosys coming out tomorrow, and followed by HCL and Wipro the day after. So that's maybe that's the positivity that's playing today in the IT space. Nifty Bank is flattish today, not a lot happening there. And among the broader indices, on the broader end of the spectrum, the indices are underperforming the benchmarks as of now. Nifty mid cap is down about 0.1%, and the Nifty small cap mostly flattish today in trade. So that's where the markets are currently at. But as I promised, the focus for today is life insurance companies. Now, if you look at the stocks are buzzing today, from ICICI Pru to LIC to SBI Life. This is on the back of numbers that came out yesterday. So there was a release of December month. For the December month, the numbers were released yesterday, and SBI Life came out with pretty strong numbers, even though HDFC Life was on the weaker end of things. So based on all of these things, based on the numbers, where there's a mixed bag in life insurance companies, Saurabh, I'd like to understand from you, within the life insurance space, what stocks are you currently constructive on?
We like among the LIC, among the stocks, LIC and SBI are the two stocks which we like. But this time around, if you see, the LIC has surprised the most. In the December month, their premium have reached up by close to 95%. That is primarily because of the single premium from the group businesses insurance, where they saw growth of approximately 195%. So if you look at the number, it looks that LIC has been able to arrest the fall in their market share. And if you look at the year-to-date number also, they still have negative growth compared to the last year. So this time around, LIC is surprised, and we expect that LIC can inch up close to 10–15% from these prices also. And for the SBI, we feel the stock can reach approximately 1,600.
Kunal, I'd like to draw your attention to LIC as well, because we have a viewer talking about LIC. They've bought the stock at 889 levels, and they want to understand if they should continue holding on from here.
Morning, everyone. So if you look at the LIC, in fact, when after the IPO, the counter came down substantially, and then there was an inverse head and shoulder formation on the chart. If you look at the breakout, that was placed at around 700 levels, and from 700 now it's trading at 850. Because our viewers' entry was pretty at the higher level, I would say, but the trend is positive. So right now you can stay invested. If the counter reaches near to, say, by any chance, if it comes down and reaches near 800 level, think of adding little more. I think this trend is positive, and he might get a decent exit also. And if he's able to buy near 800 mark, I think then the targets can be placed as high as 920 to 925, which is the previous high. And yes, for now he can hold on, but he can even add near the 800 levels.
Right. Understood. Let's move on to the next one. We have a question from Ankur, and he's talking about Trident. He bought the stock at 44 levels. Now, Trident is up in trade. No, it's actually under pressure today, down about 5%, but has given about 40% returns in the last 1 year. Kunal, is it a good time to buy the stock since it's under pressure? What kind of trajectory do you see for the stock in the shorter term?
So if you look at the last 4 days performance, the counter was up by almost around 17% 3 days back. And before that, it was up by around 7%. So almost 23-24% up. And now this counter is showing some kind of profit booking. Just a request to all our viewers that, whenever you try to chase such counters, always check first where your exit is going to be. Certainly, our viewer ended up buying little at the higher price, but the trend is still positive. So you can certainly hold on to it. The stop loss and the support on the chart is near to 43 levels. So hold on for now. If the counter reaches near to 43, think of averaging and buy a little more. I think if the trend emerges decent enough, then this counter has the potential to show us the levels of 60 to 65 levels also. I'm talking about positional trade. But yes, as of now, we can hold on and think of buying near 43 again.
Right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from Akshay from Varanasi, and he's talking about Vedanta. Now, we saw some downgrade yesterday, and that's probably why we're seeing some downtick in the stock, around 2-3% right now. But he's already bought the stock at 290 levels. Now, should he continue holding for the longer term? Saurabh, what's your view on this one?
It's difficult to take a call on Vedanta because of the debt overhang on the group. And yesterday also, some agency came out with a negative report on it. So definitely, this is not the perfect, a good pick in the metal pack. I think in the metal pack, if you want to if you want to bet, I think JSW Blue Steel, Jindal Steel are much safer, and Hindalco can be a good bet. In this stock, I'll recommend to bet. It is better to exit and jump the stocks that I have just said.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question on Eicher Motors, and I marked the stock during the market check as well. We have Elviroid, who bought the stock at 4,050 levels. Should he hold or sell this stock? Saurabh, I'm going to come to you on this. We also saw some auto numbers come out a couple of days back. So based on that, what's your view on Eicher Motors for the longer term?
I think for the long term, I think Eicher Motor makes a case for a hold. If you look at the numbers are growing decently. The company is planning to come up with the new launches on the commercial side of the business. The company is looking, strong, and on the two-wheeler motorcycles, the new editions which they are coming up, I think they will continue to hold their market share. So for the longer term perspective, I think it's a good.
And for the shorter term, Kunal, the stock has given gains of nearly 21% in the last 1 year. Is there potential upside from here on?
So if you look at the last 2 months' performance, then on the Eicher Motor, we saw the counter rallying from a 3,850 mark to almost 4,200, and it has come back to the same level. And right now, it's placed near to the support itself. So yes, the trend is definitely intact. The trend is positive with sideways consolidation. Certainly, one can hold on to the position. The stop loss on this has to be near 3,700 mark. And by any chance, the counter manages to close about 38.90. So let's round it off to 3,900. I think we can see the rally emerging again till 4,200 to 4,250.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from Khurshid. He's talking about TV18 broadcast. Now, it's in the news today because of the stock is actually up 20%. It was up 20% in the morning, but has now paired some gains and is giving gains of 16% at this point. But sort of talk to us a little bit about TV18. What's happening there?
I think it will be difficult for me because it's not in the.
All right, fair point. Kunal, talk to us about the chart performance and the stock performance on the charts, and should they continue holding the stock? Now, they have a considerable number of shares. They have 7,000 shares bought at around 50 levels.
See now, again, if you look at the recent chart formation from May 2022 so far, this counter was clearly underperforming, and this counter wasn't able to cross actually 50 mark. It attempted almost 4 to 5 times, but it was a failure. The day it crossed this 50 mark decisively, we are seeing the levels of 65. So this entire sideways consolidation is now coming to an end and emerging as a new trend. So certainly one can hold on to the position. The trailing stop loss here will be a little far away because of a massive rally in the recent times. So the stop loss is going to be around 55 levels. And hold on, I think this counter has the potential to show us the levels of 75 to 80 very soon.
Right. While we're at it, let me also point out the Nifty Media is up and buzzing today. It's up 4% in trade. We saw some weakness yesterday because of Z Entertainment dragging down the index. But today, Dish TV is up 9%, Hathway up 5%. Talk to us, Saurabh, about the media pack. What's happening there? We're seeing a sudden rise now. Is there a fundamental reason that that's happening in the media space?
I think not exactly. I mean, the deal of the Sony and Z seems to be falling apart. There has been a lot of buzz around this deal in the last year or so. I think nothing consolidation. What was believed is certainly not looking on the anvil, and that might be the reason that the CNBC group is investors are betting on this group, and we are seeing a good amount of rise coming in the stocks.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from Soumyan Mukherjee. He's talking about Star Health. He's bought the stock at 310 levels. What should be his strategy? Should he continue holding on to it? Kunal, Star Health, how does it look?
So I missed out the buying price of Avio, but if you look at the chart, this counter has met the extreme lows near 500 mark. If you look at July 2022, there was an extreme low near 472, and since then it is maintaining the support of 500. I think this is a good level to accumulate even from the long-term perspective. So manages to close below 500 will take an exit, but otherwise this 500 level seems to be a good strong support. I don't know, the momentum is still missing, so it might not deliver the results in the short period of time. But if the counter manages to close above 600 mark, then I think this entire downtrend which we are witnessing on the chart might just come to an end. So from long-term point of view, I think 500 level is a good support. And for momentum trader, one should buy about 600, and then we'll see the targets at that point in time.
Okay, so pretty decent target there. Soumyan had bought the stock at 310 levels, Kunal. So target being 500 is a pretty considerable positive for the stock. But before we take more questions, we'll slip into a short break here. But stay tuned. We'll take lots more queries after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit. And if you want to write your queries to us, you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on your screen as we speak. You can also write to us on any of our social media channels or on the YouTube live chat. We'll take your questions from there as well. Now let's dive into the questions quickly. This one's from Rashida, and she's talking about Nestle. She wants to know if it's a safe price to buy, and she wants a technical view on this. So Kunal, Nestle from here on, if you look at the last year's performance, it's lost 12%, 11-12%. But would you suggest buying from these levels?
See, we recently saw the corporate action coming in the counter, right? And the counter made a high of almost around 2770 kind of levels. And yeah, it's in correction right now, but the trend is definitely intact. I would not really be keen to buy at this present level. Rather, I'll wait for the level to, say the price to reach near 2550 to 2525. I will revisit and see how the counter is behaving, because I don't consider this pretty elevated levels as the comfortable or say safe level to invest for. I'll wait for the counter to consolidate after the correction, then we'll revisit. So tentatively the levels are 2525 to 2550 levels. At that time I would advise our viewer to come back to our channel again and re-ask the question. I think that can be the good level to accumulate.
All right, so as Kunal rightly pointed out, come back to the channel and ask for the advice again. Next up, we have a question from Amit Rastogi. He's talking about Polycab. He's bought 2,500 shares, and we saw some IT searches happening in the company offices. But it came out with a clarification yesterday on the news saying that they haven't received any communication from the IT department, which is probably why the stock is seeing some uptick after it lost about 8-9% in the last couple of sessions. Saurabh, Polycab, now fundamentally it's a strong company, but if we look at the recent actions by the IT department, does that affect the stock in the longer term? Should they continue holding it, or is it a good time to get out of the stock?
Yes, of course. I mean, the stock is likely to continue to be in pressure because of this news that came over last week. I mean, till the clarity emerges, I think the investors will be afraid of betting on this company. Albeit the fundamentals are good, but the valuations are also stretchy. So till the time clarity emerges, I think there is no point in chipping in this company. Similar company in the domain which looks attractive to me is Helix.
Right. Next up, we have a question from Mamta, and she's writing to us from Delhi. She's talking about Muthoot Microfinance. Saurabh, have you gotten a chance to look at this? This was a recent listing, and if I remember correctly, it listed on a discount from its IPO price. Should they continue holding the stock if they bought it in the IPO?
See, if you have taken the stock in the IPO, it is better to stick for a quarter or two. I mean, the group is very good. See the numbers, how the numbers pan out for the December and the March quarter, and then take after taking a note of the numbers, then make a plan whether to remain, whether to hold or to exit the company. For the next 3-4 months, I think it is better to hold.
Better to, sorry?
It is better to hold for next
hold.
1.
All right, got it. Next up, we have a question from Rajiv Singh. He's talking about Amara Raja Batteries. They've bought the stock at 831 levels. Should they continue holding it? Kunal, how does it look on the charts?
See, again, this counter has been an underperforming counter. If you look at the broader formation from November 2022 so far, it has made kind of higher top, higher bottom, but it's quite muted even at the present level. So I'll stay cautious as of now on Amara Raja. And rather, I'll go ahead with, if I want to trade in the battery segment, I'll go ahead with, say, Exide. For time being, the viewer can have the stop loss of around 790 and hold the position. On the higher side, we can expect the levels of around 875 to 880 kind of levels.
Right, understood. Next up, we have a question from Piyush. He's talking about Indian Energy Exchange. He's already bought the stock at 250 levels. The current price is around 162. So a bit of a notional loss there rather. He wants to understand if he should average out and get out of the stock at this juncture. Saurabh, fundamentally, how does the stock look?
Won't recommend to average at me. If you look at on the valuation side, it is trading at 18 times to book value. The monopoly has already been challenged. If you look at the last 1-2 years, the stock has clearly underperformed, and on the valuation side, it is clearly expensive. So my sense is better to get, if you get any opportunity, better to exit.
And Kunal, would you give this same suggestion, exit at this point?
I do have a little different view, and the only reason being that if you look at the overall formation, the counter was in downtrend. It entered into sideways consolidation from October 22 so far, and now in the recent times, we saw massive volumes happening on the chart, and the breakout was seen at around 150 levels. So, in fact, I consider this to be like the beginning of an up rally. This is purely on the technical basis. So yes, with the stop loss of 150, I think one can hold on to the position. One can even think of buying at the present levels, and we are looking at the levels of around 200 to 225 as the next 2 to 3 months target on the chart.
Understood. Next up, we have a question from Mandy, and they've written to us on YouTube. They're talking about Mangalore Chemical Fertilizer, and they want a fundamental view. And they're also talking about the budget 2024. So are we expecting something in the chemical space, and will it affect Mangalore Chemical Fertilizers? Saurabh?
See, this time the budget in the February will be voted on, and the budget will be presented after the general elections. So yes, the government will focus surely on the agri side of the economy. I think they are quite there to boost the agrarian economy, and the fertilizer are a good proxy to for any kind of government soaps that comes in. In the fertilizer space, the stock which we like is Gujarat State Fertilizer. I think Mangalore Chemical is a much smaller company. If you want to look at the fertilizer space, I think GSFC is much better bet.
Okay, understood. Next up, we have a question from Neelam from Rampur. They have bought the stock Ashok Leyland at 189 levels. The stock is currently trading below that price, around 175 levels. Should they continue holding the stock is the question. Kunal, what would you suggest?
Yeah, again, see, June 2023 to so far, this counter has been in positive trend, but again, sideways and muted. The support on the chart is straight away at 170, but I think 170 is a good level where one can think of adding even more. Now, our viewer is already holding the position. I would say stay onto this counter. Keep the stop loss of around 165. And again, at that point in time, take an opinion. But I think this counter slowly and steadily might remain positive. So with the stop loss of 165, I would stay. I would advise him to stay invested. And by any chance it reaches near to 170, think of averaging the position. I think in the spike of around 185, you might get a decent exit and a good profit on the newly created position.
And Saurabh, what's your view on Ashok Leyland? The news flow yesterday was that they've signed MOU with the Tamil Nadu governments for about 1,200 crores. Do you see that this playing out in the stock? There's some pressure. The stock is still under pressure even after this announcement. But for the longer term, how does Ashok Leyland look in the space?
I think for the long-term prospects prospects for the commercial vehicle segment looks bright, considering the infrastructure capex that is happening, considering the orders that the state government are coming up with, and the company's positioning also. For the long term, I don't expect any. I don't feel any problem with the company, and the earnings are likely to inch up in the next fiscal year.
Right. All right. That's all the time we have today on this edition of Ask Profit. Thank you, Saurabh and Kunal, for joining us and for answering so many questions for us. And viewers, hope we were able to answer some of your queries today. But if not, we'll be back tomorrow, same time at 11:30 a.m. So do keep writing to us and stay tuned for more updates on NDTV Profit.